Hello, I'm Tim Norris with Solar Power Events. Thank you for joining us for our new Think, Engage, Connect series, which aims to help the industry by offering different perspectives and ideas on the current business climate through webinars, think pieces, and Slack communities. A special thanks to SunCast Media for hosting today's program on adapting your marketing strategy during the COVID-19 crisis. We've got a great panel lined up for you today, led by SunCast Media's Nico Johnson. Today's panelists are Lennie Moreno, CEO and founder of SolarGraph, Mike Hilverda, Director of Customer Success from SalesRabbit, and Katie Ullmann, Senior Director of the Antenna Group. Nico, the floor is yours.
Fantastic. Here we are. For those of you who are watching us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, thank you for joining us. I will be pulling this banner down in just one moment. Let's give it another 10 or 15 seconds as folks join in on the live. I see that those of you who are watching us, thank you, on the Crowdcast platform are chiming in. Yes, I can hear. So I'll give you all another quick prompt. If you are watching this on LinkedIn, then say how you heard about it. If you were notified, if you knew about it, if you stalk my LinkedIn profile so that you can see every new thing that I post. Say where you're from and how you heard about the session. Same for you in Crowdcast or whatever other platform you're in. Where are you coming to us from, and how did you hear about this? Just in the comments. From Michigan, heard about it on LinkedIn post, or heard about it from Sets. However it might be, you're joining us live in Crowdcast, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Thank you for taking this time. And without further ado, I will introduce our esteemed panel. How you guys doing?
Good.
Great. Tim, since you have such a lovely radio voice, I wanted to leave you up there so folks can see and associate. Oh, that's Tim Morris from Solar Power Events.
Hello. Nice to see everybody.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for helping put this together, and thanks for that warm welcome. Everybody say bye-bye, Tim. Bye-bye, Tim.
Yeah, Tim.
Yeah, Tim. Bye-bye, me.
Tim, hang out in the green room. Let us know if things stop working. In the meantime, I wanted to take a moment and just thank not only all of you who are watching us live from whatever platform you are on. I see we got folks coming in from LA, from Atlanta, from Utah. It is flying by. LinkedIn, Tom Kuhnhart over in Oakland, Justin at Denver. We've got David in Calgary, folks in Boston. Folks are joining us from all over the U.S. I'm looking, is anybody, hey, see ya from South Africa. You got me, you beat me to it. Who's joining us from international markets? Super excited to talk to you all. I know that if you're anything like the four of us, you're feeling a little closed in right now. And maybe you're joining this because you're not sure if your marketing is working. You are getting feedback from your customers that their marketing is not working. You're wondering if one of our teams has found something that is working. So I can promise that you will get some nuggets of wisdom today for joining with that in mind. We have an esteemed panel here of folks that operate across multiple jurisdictions throughout North America and at multiple levels in marketing as well as in the solar and broadly different verticals. So I wanted to have a chance for each one of you, and I'm going to go the way I see you on the screen and ask you to just tell us, where are you physically? Where do you operate as a company? And one interesting thing that you've noticed over the last 4 weeks about the way your customers are responding. So we'll start with you, Lennie.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Nico. So I'm in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Even if it's a different country, it's the same lockdown, it's the same situation. We're all in the same position. So right now we have 65 employees all working from home. So, it is a bit of a different reality, but we had a good work from home policy prior to this. So, we're happy that the adjustment was actually pretty easy. But all in all, one of the main things that we've noticed is we've been contacted by so many contractors, manufacturers, distributors, lenders that are looking for real online solutions, real like end-to-end solar software solutions. And the reason being is because, they were mostly focusing on door-to-door, a lot of canvassing. And since they can't do that right now, they still have to, show the numbers. And we have, our business has actually thrived during COVID-19. So even if it's not fun for a lot of people, I have a lot of friends that, their business went down and everything. What we're doing is that we're showing up at every event, at every webinar, at every situation to make sure that we can bring the value that we have learned from the dealers and, to make sure that we spread the knowledge on how to recover as fast as possible.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Lennie. Katie Ullmann, Antenna Group.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Katie Ullmann from the Antenna Group. So yeah, obviously these are challenging times. I'm based out of New York, and obviously everyone's health is of primary concern right now. But as far as work, the Antenna Group, everyone has kept their jobs, and we've been quite busy doing marketing for our clients and on this very topic, helping our clients adapt to marketing and communications during this challenging time. So we have offices, New York, New Jersey, Chicago, and San Francisco. We have clients all across the US, in the UK, in Israel. And so far, our clients are just working hard to adapt, but mostly staying on board, and we're staying busy.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Katie. Mike Hilverda from SalesRabbit. Where are you working and how are you seeing things from your vantage point?
So we're based out of Lehi, Utah, which is about a half hour south of Salt Lake City. And 50 employees, as was kind of mentioned before, like everybody else, working from home. And the COVID-19 situation is obviously unprecedented, very different than anybody's had to work with before. But I think one thing that's been most interesting for us is the fact that when our clients reach out to us or we reach out to them, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's people that maybe immediately say, I'm going to close down my business for this period of time. I don't want to have those strategic conversations right now, or, we're very concerned about our cash position. And then there's others that are moving through it quite confidently. And with those that have uncertainty, I don't think that they feel really confident about those moves they're making. They just don't know what to do. And so they're looking for insights. And I think the companies that are winning right now, and what we're coaching those ones who are uncertain to do, is pivot your approach, think about the things you can do to maintain revenue right now. But also, and I think this is going to play out over the next 3 or 4 weeks, as some of these social distancing restrictions are lifted, what are you doing now that's planting seeds so as you come out of this, you've got a positive trajectory, and you've really positioned yourself during this time. You've prepared yourself operationally to be efficient, to succeed in the post-COVID-19 situation.
Yeah, fantastic. I want to just take one moment here and pause and say thank you once again. If you're watching on one of the live platforms, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, we really are grateful that you're joining us. This is the adapting your marketing strategy during COVID-19 live session put on by Solar Energy Trade Show, Solar Energy Events. I'm going to hat tip to Greg Bray and Tim Morris at Solar Energy Events for helping put this on. We have also the ability for, if you've looked down in the comments, you'll see a link to Crowdcast. Maybe you want to jump over there if you want to ask questions of our esteemed guests. We've got Lennie Moreno of SolarGraph, Katie Ullmann from Antenna Group, and Michael Hilverda of SalesRabbit. My name is Nico Johnson. I'm the founder and host of SunCast Media and our popular SunCast podcast, where we bring thought leaders and thinkers like the three that you have on the screen with me today together to think about how our industry is moving forward, look at how folks' careers are progressing, and in troubled times like these, help you with tactics and advice on how to move forward. I'm really curious, and for what it's worth, If you're on one of the live platforms and you don't want to migrate away, I totally respect that. Just throw your comments in the messages, and Alex will grab them and he'll post them over on Crowdcast for us. So at the end, we'll have some time to go through that Q&A in about 15 minutes, 16 minutes time. So thank you for that. I see a ton of activity here in the thread, and that's what, if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing, is looking at the other screen where folks are interacting on Crowdcast and asking questions. I would love to hear from you all. What sort of stories are you hearing from the front lines? You know, it's a turbulent time for our industry. How are your clients responding to what's happening around them? I'd like to maybe start with Katie. Katie, you know, as Antenna Group is one of the well-known PR and marketing and digital firms, you work with clients that look at all spectrums from resi to utility scale solar, and you have folks in other verticals as well. What are you hearing from the front lines?
Yeah, so, you know, it really depends on the different industries. So when we're looking at the solar industry, it really varies if it's a residential company versus a utility scale or commercial company. And what we're doing is taking a really tailored approach to thinking about the customers that our clients are communicating to and marketing to, and making sure that sensitivity is top of mind. So in everything that we're doing right now, we're thinking, is this sensitive? Is this relevant? If one of their customers was just reading the news, a little stressed out, and then saw this marketing email blast from them, would they be able to focus in on it and transition into focusing on their sales and marketing message, or would they find it off-putting? So we take a really customized approach. One strategic story I can tell from the front lines is one of my clients has a few customer segments in the electric vehicle charging space. They sell to cities, utilities, and fleet operators. And we were planning on doing marketing to cities and utilities during this time. But when we really thought about it, and if you're putting yourself in the shoes of someone in city government right now, you have to think about the schools closing down. You have to think about getting meals out. You have to think about public health. There's so much. They're not going to be making big sales decisions regarding EV infrastructure. So we made a hard stop on marketing to cities and utilities as well that are trying to manage changes in demand while everyone works from home. You know, the COVID crisis is just so relevant, and those two customer segments for them are so focused on reacting and ensuring public health and safety that we press pause there. That being said, fleet operators that they sell to are experiencing unprecedented demand. And while we all stay at home, they're so busy delivering everything we need to us. And they're the real, you know, among the real heroes right now. And those working in the fleet operator space are seeing more wear and tear on their trucks. And it's actually a good time for us to be promoting electric alternatives to them as they make purchasing decisions for the future. So that's just one example of helping a client navigate the current events and pivot their strategy.
Thanks so much, Katie. Mike or Lennie, I know you both operate across different areas of resi and commercial solar in particular. Anything in particular you'd like to highlight that you've seen as a story from a customer that highlights the challenges you're helping address?
Yeah, I can go if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
So yeah, we have been talking with hundreds of dealers since the crisis started, and we're really on the front lines with them. I mean, I used to be a contractor, and I understand, you know, the true reality of all the moving parts, from like generating leads to you know, designing a system, getting the building permits while, you know, it's closed right now. So we've created a few tricks. We've created a lot of documents, blogs, videos, you know, to help them. So I'll give you an example. Currently, the demand on solar online leads is through the roof, because obviously there's no canvassing, there's no door to door. So, everybody's buying leads. So the price per lead is really going higher and higher. So even if it's a lead that's like, so, there's some shading, there's some obstacles, people are paying like top dollar for it. So what we've been pushing is we've been educating our current clients and potential clients how to generate leads that, one, you're not competing against the rest of the competition, because the lead aggregator sells one lead to like 5, 6, 7 guys, and also how to generate your own leads that are free, that are yours, and that are the roofs that you guys are choosing. So like a typical example is like you would go on Google Maps, you spot a street in your neighborhood, you find a bunch of roofs that are, south facing, you put the pin on it, and then you get the address, you get a membership with White Pages Pro, and you do a reverse lookup, you get the full homeowner information. In most cases, you get the email as well. And essentially, using our software, you can have it designed in a few seconds with, just sending an email. Hey, you got to make sure it's on the that they're not on the do not call list or like the email list. But you say, hey, this is your house with solar panels on. You would save around, let's call it like 25% on your bill. If you want more information, click here. And people are generating tons and tons and tons of new leads, with different strategies. So that's just like one example out of so many. I have like many examples in like virtual site surveys. It's like another of the features that we offer. So you can actually interact with the homeowner and do a virtual site survey while you're at the comfort of your home. So we're offering more an approach that's more aggressive, that's more proactive, and that focuses on pivoting as opposed to just waiting for help or just like closing your business. I mean, as a serial entrepreneur, I had to do a lot of pivots in my life, and the mentality is always, how can we adjust to the current environment, and how can we still make money? How can we still position ourselves that once this crisis is over, I'll be lined up to have a whole bunch of jobs, and I'll have all the tools in hand in order to keep, my business moving forward. So, I have many stories, but I'm not going to hug up all the time,
Fair enough. Mike, one quick story from you. Is there something that you'd like to highlight, just of where you're seeing the pain the most, and maybe how you guys are adapting and helping your clients with that?
Yeah, the language you hear from people is, how can we pivot? What can we pivot to? What can we change here? And a lot of times it's very short-term thinking. I want to pivot now, and then once this is over, I'm going to go back to my previous strategy. And the companies that I think are very wise in this situation are the ones that are using this as a laboratory environment. And I don't want to say that without tact. I mean, people's businesses may struggle during this time a little bit, but this is a situation where, yes, pivot. And as you're experimenting with these pivots, question whether this is a temporary thing or whether this is something that you should be implementing long term. And it just happened to be this situation that gave you the opportunity to test things out and try different strategies. And I encourage people to look at different levels of the sales funnel. When it comes to lead generation, should we be investing more in accessing data? Should we be doing direct mailer campaigns or email campaigns through MailChimp or Gmail, services like that? Once we got the leads generated, does it make sense for us to do more video conferencing appointments for solar or roofing sales rather than necessarily insisting on an in-home appointment in every case? And then when it comes to signing, do we have a paper signing experience? Maybe that should be digital. If we have a digital signing experience, maybe it makes sense to have a remote signing option available so that if it just is impractical or it's uncomfortable for a person for us to be able to sign right there in their home, that we provide an email-based signing experience for them. So really rethinking the experience and rethinking it long-term. are these pivots things that that really make sense for us as a company, make us more efficient, more effective in the long term?
Yeah, Mike, I've been hearing that word pivot a lot. I see Lennie and Katie nodding in the background in our green room here as we have you in the solo layout there. And I put this up, how are you thinking about product mix and your offering now versus the last 6 weeks? I think that the number one thing we're hearing from clients, and that I hear in all the calls I'm on as well, is this notion of pivot, right? And that pivot needs to be with a sense of not being tone deaf to what's happening, right? A lot of folks, what you were offering 6 weeks ago just is not what you can be offering now. The clients aren't hearing it. Maybe it doesn't resonate at all. Maybe you need a new product mix. I'd like to hear regarding messaging with regards to client engagement, you with your clients, as well as how you're advising your clients. Where are you at related to messaging?
So if you don't mind, I'll jump in on that. So a lot of people know us for our mobile CRM, our mobile app that the reps are using in the field, enables them in a lot of different fronts. And that is very mobile centric. It's very face to face. And we've got a different product called Boost, or SalesRabbit Boost, which is a digital marketing platform based on geofencing technology. You're able to do display ads, video ads, audio ads based on a geofence around a neighborhood, an event center, basically wherever my audience is, I'm going to target them very specifically. And some companies, they're really good at the field sales funnel. They've got that dialed. They're layering in those face-to-face interactions. And then sometimes they'll have a great marketing or digital marketing funnel, but they tend to be very separate funnels. They're not interacting. They're not speeding us toward those 7 average interactions that prepare someone for a buying decision. So in the current situation, as we're talking to clients, we're emphasizing in the current environment, when you have to minimize or even eliminate those face-to-face interactions, how can you start to layer in those digital interactions in such a way that as restrictions are lifted, and I think something that's going to happen is restrictions are not going to be lifted all at once, universally across the board. You're going to see a lot of people remaining at home, even as field sales teams are allowed to be out in the field again. And it's a prime opportunity. Are we essentially pre-seeding territories? Are we creating brand awareness and almost generating that interest in that buying opportunity just at the right time for the sales team to go out there? So that Boost product is one that I think we're pushing more, that people are suddenly in a situation where they realize the value of pairing that with the traditional mobile app that we offer.
Yeah, I can follow up on that. And just as you were saying, there's some companies that are pivoting. There's some companies that are moving forward and marching ahead, or as Mike was saying, preparing and seeding sales for post-COVID. And from a messaging standpoint, we have Keith, the CEO of Antenna, came up with this thing we call the TACOS method for crisis communication, which stands for being transparent, authoritative, consistent, over-communicating, and staying social. And this is really for all crisis communications, but knowing that things are changing so quickly, you really want to just be in touch with your customers and letting them know as much information as you know, but not setting, expectations that you might not be able to meet as things continue to evolve. So we really just encourage that companies, they communicate that they're open, but not business as usual, because it's not business as usual, and just keep in touch.
Yeah. At SolarGraph, we do have an what's the name? Empathetic tone whenever we talk to people, and we monitor like what are the concerns and all that, and we've created a a board with all the calls that we had saying, oh, I'm not sure if it lasts for this long, if it lasts for that long, like, I'm not sure how I'm going to handle this. So we have, what we've realized is that when we use the tone that is like, okay, well, do you want to wait? Do you want to not do anything? Versus when we use the tone that is like, okay, so what's the alternative? What if you don't pivot? What if you wait? And what if you, decide not to go ahead and put these proposals out there, get these e-signatures, do these virtual site surveys, get those permits ready for when the season starts? What's the alternative? And what we've recorded, and I'm talking about hundreds of dealers here, is the ones that have made the move to accelerate and to be proactive are very happy that they did so far, because now that we can slowly start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, these people have embraced the new technology. They have digged inside of the software to realize that everything that they need to run a business is right in front of them. Because often it's like you sign up to a software and you're like, oh, I signed up for the design tool. Okay, did you know that you can do proposals, e-signatures, permits, stamps, CRM functionalities, financing in real time, the DocuSign for the financing options? All of that is available right in front of you, in front of your screen. You can chat with the customer as you are, as they're seeing what you're seeing, like at the same time. And it's like you're in front of them. So if you embrace the technology that's available right now, once the crisis is over, here's what's going to happen. You're going to have a portion of the sales that will be, coming from the field, canvassing, door to door. You're still going to have that percentage, but on top of that, you're going to realize that you have this whole new percentage of sales that actually comes from online. And my first job in the solar industry was over 10 years ago. I used to be on the phone selling residential solar. So I, like hundreds of clients I never met. I was just closing the deal because I had all the tools. Like it was like 20 programs, at the time, but it's like I had all the tools to actually take a deal from lead generation all the way down to project completion. So it's important to embrace the technologies available. And if you don't do that, then you just have to ask yourself, what's the alternative?
I think that one of the things I'm seeing here is the ability to embrace the technology. I think we've all seen a lot with obviously Zoom having a great bit of traction, everyone moving to the home office. Many of us have worked from home office for years. And there was that first kind of 3, 4, 5 weeks of adjustment or readjustment, saying, okay, how do we get our teams to work together? So the first sort of wave that we saw of webinars were, how do you get your teams to work together? How do you use these platforms? What are the platforms that are working? Have you guys come up with any new tips or tricks? And I see, and we've got a question over on Crowdcast from Mary around content, that people are starting to return to this idea that like the leaders are the ones who are pivoting, standing in the gap, giving thought leadership about how to lead your team through this crisis more than just how to help your team adapt to this temporary work from home situation. What content is actually working then? So the question from Mary was, if you have plans for sharing thought leadership, then how does that thought leadership need to be modified? Are you recommending customers move forward with what they're saying, or pause for now and shift the narrative? Katie, I know this is something that you guys actually addressed in the document you mentioned that Keith wrote recently. How are you seeing the content strategy from a thought leadership perspective changing that folks can think about how to implement in their own business?
Keith wrote about this in his ebook, which anyone can find on Antenna's blog, which is Doing More with Less right now, on how we're recommending that our clients adapt. As far as content and thought leadership, right now we are asking our clients to do a brainstorm. We're doing this with all of our clients, and think about how their business is being affected. And is there something, either a business insight or an industry trend that they are willing to write about and share. And we are trying to keep thought leadership focused on the topic of adapting to the COVID crisis. When we talk to journalists right now in the mainstream media, a lot of journalists are switching beats and just focused on COVID. With the trade media, there's some appetite for, general thought leadership, but even there's mostly an appetite for thought leadership that really responds to current events. So that would be our recommendation for now.
Yeah. Mike, I know that you guys have a lot of content as well. Have you changed your strategy, and how have you observed that strategy changing from a content production perspective?
Yeah, two things that I think are relevant is, yes, people are moving. First of all, people are moving to video conferencing, and they're utilizing some of these tools that they may not have used before. But the thing to keep in mind is there's certain things that take place in a face-to-face environment, a team environment, that you take for granted. You don't realize you're doing them. And when you suddenly go virtual, either video conferencing or chat communications, you've got some sort of space where a team is collaborating or you're collaborating with an entire industry. You can't just assume that those things are automatically going to exist. So if culture is an important part of that thought leadership you're providing, if there's a personality to all of that, you need to be very deliberate about it. You need to make sure that that's being communicated very clearly, because it may not simply be coming out the way it has before. And as people continue and maybe maintain those video conferencing tools, that's going to have to become a much more deliberate part of their process. And the other thing is, not to put this in delicately, but this is a recruiting opportunity. There are people out there who are very skilled, who are fantastic at their jobs, who have lost job opportunities. And a smart company is going to invest in what is essentially a downturn, recruit, bring people on, and make sure that you are creating that thought leadership, that you're creating that culture and driving people from the get-go. So the moment that they come into your company as a new recruit, you're creating a message that defines your company.
Yeah, it's such a true statement that now is the opportunity to really not only define but reinforce your corporate culture. I was just on the phone with a client that hired 4 people in the last 3 weeks, and at a time when 10 plus million people in the U.S. alone have filed for unemployment, I think that's remarkable. It speaks to the fact that our industry has, back to the messaging point, a responsibility to point out that we've been the largest job creator in the United States for the last 4+ years running. And it's a great opportunity for us to double down on the ways that we are fostering support of the jobs community and creating career opportunities for those who have lost their job. I think that's a great point, Mike.
I agree. And I'm going to add to that. We've hired 7 people in the last 8 days. And I can tell you that hiring and, most importantly, onboarding and training people without the corporate culture, the environment, the vibes, and the energy that's in the office is challenging. But we've created like virtual coffee rooms, virtual happy hour rooms where like people can meet at like certain times. We send each other tacos, which is like props, and we try to spread just positivity, and we want to make sure that anyone who feels that they're alone, that it's getting heavy, it's getting long, we check up on them every single day. So we're lucky enough to have a full-time HR. So they just reach out to everyone. How you feeling? Do you need anything? And we make sure that we always have these daily meetings, group meetings, full meetings, so that everyone can really be part of the full, not only experience, but where are you guys navigating? And everybody needs to have the same critical mission. So right now is the time not to bring down people, but is a time to be a lot more accepting on human behavior. It's a time to have people to be a lot more open about, hey, like we're all stuck in the same position. I was in a similar call in this with our investors, which, like investors, they have like a bit more money, they're at home just like me. Like we're both in the same situation. So it's like it brings everyone to a similar level. And I think it's important to really embrace the human behavior of the situation and accept people for their passions, what they love, what do they thrive for, what kind of future do they want. And now is the time to implement it. Because as soon as we're back, like we have to understand, like, hey, we all came out of this, and we all came out of this because we were together and we believed in each other. So having a human approach is definitely something that I recommend.
Yeah, that human approach and that empathy is so important. And as I said, the leaders with a corporate culture that is rooted in something beyond just closing the next deal are going to pull their teams through this, and they're going to attract that workforce necessary to grow. A lot of folks are tuning in here. Thank you so much for everyone who's tuning in from LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook, and all of you who are on Crowdcast that are watching us here as well, firing your questions and a ton of comments back and forth on that platform. We're grateful to have a chance to sit with some folks who are directly involved day in and day out with marketing, either for their companies and their clients or on behalf of, as in the case of Antenna Group, dozens of clients that are thinking in different ways about how to address marketing. To that end, digital marketing is the soup du jour right now. You can't really do canvassing. You can't really do trade shows or journals. You can obviously do electronic, website journalism in that way. But what do we see happening right now around digital marketing? What are leaders doing? What advice are we giving them? What's working from SEO to personal blogs? How do we see that flourishing right now?
Yeah.
No, go ahead, please.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I'm happy to just get us started and then look forward to hearing from you too, Lennie. So, we've noticed that since people have been in lockdown, the number of Google searches has increased significantly. And so we're asking, all of our clients to really consider an SEO strategy. Those who haven't invested in that yet, we're really doubling down on SEO and search engine optimization. People are also on social media platforms more frequently than when we're not in lockdown. And so we're having our clients do digital advertising, paid targeted digital advertising on social media channels. When this first happened, we did notice that the cost per click had gone down since some companies had just halted and stopped their marketing efforts. So while that's still the case, our clients can do some paid digital advertising at somewhat of a discount. Unclear how long that will last for. But those are two channels that we were definitely pushing right from the get-go. And then, it's also a good time if sales are slower to invest in your tech stack and set up automated marketing. Make sure your CRM is in check. For our clients, we work on automated marketing through HubSpot and Salesforce. And so those are just channels that we've been working with our clients to make sure everything is set up. If they're doing email campaigns, making sure that's a drip campaign. People are distracted. So you want to make sure that as long as the message is sensitive and relevant, that you're continuing in an automated fashion to keep hitting them with those messages. And Lennie, interested to hear from you guys.
Yeah, no, it's quite good. And, in the lines of what I was saying earlier, it's really about like adjusting your message as well. So today, people are not responding to ads the same way that they were pre-COVID-19. So you need to use like the right formulation of words, of keywords, of even like your website. like we've adjusted our website based on the reality. We've adjusted our blog. We've made a whole bunch of new videos that are more speaking to, the current situation right now. And when it comes to advertisement, it's like you got to speak to like what is going on right now, and somehow people will just be inclined to, hey, like it has to do with what's going on. So it will be much easier for them to find you, in that fashion. And another tip that I will also give, and that's mostly for the dealers that are listening. Other than the trick that I gave with the Google Maps and reverse lookup, it's important to also look at all the lead aggregators, because some are good, some are bad, some are like in the middle. We've dealt with so many of them, but once you find a good source and you build a good relationship, you can actually get some pretty decent leads at a decent price. Because I'm telling you right now, the online leads market is booming. So if you go to, companies like Wave Solar or, Solar Reviews or, I don't know, I'd have to think. But you reach out to these companies and you realize that they have an inventory. They have a lot of types of leads based on your budget. And you can start with a smaller budget, look at what the return is. But my main advice remains to you have to generate your own. And if you're capable with the tools that you have to generate your own, like with SolarGraph, this is really, really going to help you financially, and it's going to stack up a bunch of deals for you as soon as the season starts again.
I would also, excuse me, I would also add to that, and I know we've all said this a couple of times, but it's very, very important to lead with empathy. That doesn't mean that your marketing needs to say COVID-19 in it. Doesn't mean that it needs to refer to it specifically. Just understand that people are going to view it in the prism of the current situation. So make sure it's very tactful, that it's understanding that. Kind of going back to what I'd mentioned before, is we encourage people to think about how they can integrate, how they can meld the different funnels that they're working with. So if I've got a face-to-face field sales funnel, how can I meld that with those digital marketing efforts? And a good example of that is, in a solar or roofing context, as restrictions are lifted, maybe I don't initially have my team knocking doors. Maybe I have my solar reps going out and they're looking at rooftops and seeing angles, south facing, where the tree's positioned. And I'm gathering those as potential leads, and then I'm feeding that through a direct mailer campaign or something. I'm preparing, and then as we get restrictions more and more lifted, I'm easing into a full face-to-face marketing flow in that context. Big thing to remember, people in this situation are still ready to buy, almost no matter what that product is. They have not stopped wanting the service, the offering that you have. They may be a little more hesitant, but they're still very interested. And the important thing is to make sure that they have the information they need to make that buying decision. Maybe they buy now, or maybe they buy in 4 weeks, but why not inform them during this time?
Indeed. To tag on to that point, we had a question from Monica that asked, do clients think that it's invasive at this time to be checking their roofs without them knowing? What's the sentiment you guys are hearing from your customers about the nature of how we're interacting with clients and trying to move forward as business as usual in some cases?
Yeah, I can take that one on, because I've been talking to a lot of business owners, a lot of contractors, and they're not really seeing that as because everybody understands, like, we still all need to survive. We still all need to make ends meet. We still have bills to pay, and we still have a team, and we still have a payroll and rent and food to put on the table. So everybody knows that it's like, hey, I'm just still trying to do what I was doing before. So what we're hearing is, like, it's actually people are embracing more people that are like, hey, like, maybe this is not the right time, but I appreciate maybe in a week or two, but the tone is respectful. It's not invasive at all. And specifically, if you're trying to reach out to a customer for solar, trying to save them money, or have like a zero down solution, or have a financing solution that's ready, that's like, turnkey to make it happen for them. It's like, no, like we're here to provide a good service, and we're still trying to make ends meet. Like we're not here trying to get like billionaires and, just like profit off of the situation. We're just trying to do what we were doing before at a local level or at a state level. And we encourage that, and we will keep providing the support to all of our dealers to the maximum effect that we can, because we're all in the same boat.
Yeah, one thing that I've been thinking about myself, and Ken over on Crowdcast is asking the question as well. I hear that lead generation is going crazy, that folks are seeing, paid ads, paid impressions are at a recent low. I won't say an all-time low, but they're at a recent low, meaning it's more cost-effective to get conversions from paid impressions. But are we seeing conversions from those leads? I think one of the questions that still exists right now is, people are receiving stimulus checks yesterday and today. Yeah, we're marketing a lot, but are we actually seeing contracts being signed and conversions from that? And I think that that's the part of the end of the rainbow for everyone, right?
I think any sort of cloudiness about the future. I mean, we all know this. That has the greatest effect on the health of an economy, is if people have that hesitation and have that question. And naturally, that's going to exist right now, at least for some people. And the best thing that marketing, that sales teams can do is, even if you're not giving that people complete confidence, you're providing a sense of confidence about the product you're bringing, what it's going to do for them, how it's economically viable, and as Lennie was saying, how it's going to save them money in the long term. Like, you're just helping them come out of a bit of a cloud and feel like my future's solid. And it has a lot to do with the language, how you're speaking about the product that you're selling, and how it has a future with them.
Yeah, I want to. Lennie, did you have something to tag on there?
No. I'll
okay.
Go ahead.
So, given that we're coming up on, we're already a few minutes over our dedicated time here. We do have a few more questions. If you guys have some time, maybe we'll keep the line open and ask a few more questions. Is that okay?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, fantastic. So, one of the questions that I see that is a little more tactical, it's around social media, and maybe we can talk a bit about social media and whether there are any ideas to share around creating this virtual community and getting more client engagement. Thanks for Nick both time for that question.
Yeah, one of our clients actually did this really fun montage video of all of them working from home. That it was really cute. It included kids and whatever animals, whatever else people have at home. And it was really nice to get like a slice into their new company culture. I love just today hearing Lennie's your guys' thing where you send each other tacos. That's really cute. So I think sharing as much as you can from what it's like to work from home and what the new company culture is, almost like journal diary type, content that doesn't need to be relevant to your product. I think that it's a really good time just to share videos, photos, and help people feel connected. And then, video in general, right now, we're all very much looking for interesting and funny and engaging content. So if you can create a funny video about your product, then now is a great time to do that and have a captive audience.
Yeah,
humor always wins.
I think we've all seen the BBC broadcaster who was sitting there in his home, and kid comes in the background. I mean, it kind of characterizes this entire situation. And I think we were all talking before the broadcast about the little bit of the dark comedy around memes and things in this situation. Take advantage of that. Everybody, as Lennie was saying, everybody's in this situation together. If we were all talking about a subset of society, it might not be that funny, but it's funny because everybody else's kids are at home. Everybody else is going through those situations. So within reason, utilize that within social media. There's going to come a time when people look back on this maybe not longingly, but they're going to look back on it with a little smirk and remember the situation. Don't be afraid to harness that in social media when interfacing with potential customers or interfacing with your own company, the people that you work with partners within your industry.
Yeah, we have clients that are actually doing these video chats between dealer and homeowner, and it just brings a face to the situation. It's like, hey, I'm John, and this is your solar system. As you can see here, this is how much you're saving. Oh, sorry, that's my kid. That's like, it's like it's all real situations. So that just makes the sale easier, like showing that you're just like them, and you just find an area of neutrality. So I encourage that 100%. Video chats between dealer and homeowner.
Yeah, that is great. We have one more question I'll copy over here, and that is around commercial and businesses. Or any thoughts around marketing specifically towards the C&I space? Lots of businesses are closed. Yeah, homeowners are at home. But what do you do when your segment is commercial industrial and they're shut down, unless they're deemed essential, obviously?
And so I have one. So I'll just tackle one aspect of it, which is the one that we deal with, which is like manufacturers, distributors. So their clients are lenders, and their clients are not homeowners. So they still need to sell their product. And in order to sell their product in difficult times like these, you have to be able to be thinking outside of the box and not just offer the normal service or product that you were on a regular day. So what we've done, and it's been quite successful, is we've made white label versions of SolarGraph to put in their portal and then have them to reach all of their commercial clients and be like, hey, by the way, during this situation, you can now use this design tool, these financing options, this CRM, these leads coming in, and that is just bringing the level of loyalty to that service or that product to a whole other level. And they're offering it zero down, no money. It's just go on the portal. It's an investment for the future because they know that this is going to be it's a short-term situation, but on the long term, this is going to pay off and it's going to differentiate them tremendously from the competition because they were there while the other ones didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Let's go Mike first, and we'll finish with Katie.
Sorry, I was just gonna agree with Lennie in the sense that this is a time when smart people are going to be looking at other new offerings that you have that they might not have considered before. And a great way to position that is to take something that doesn't get as much face time, a product, a service that doesn't get as much face time normally, and create some sort of a trial or something that they can sample during this time. They know that their business is going to reopen at some point, and they want to be ready for that. Markets use it as an opportunity to pitch them on something they hadn't considered before.
Yeah, absolutely. I work with 2 C&I solar companies that are moving ahead, and it's a lot of reaching out directly and just being sensitive, checking in first and foremost, going back to the messaging point we all made with hope you're healthy and well. Have you been, considering ways to save money at your facilities long term? From a project finance perspective, it's actually a really good time to do alternative investments because the stock market is all over the place. So we've had clients that I know have closed project finance during this time with investors that want to do a long-term, stable C&I solar investment. So I do think it's really about striking the right tone, using the right tools, to be effective, sensitive, stay relevant. But that there's definitely a path to move forward in the C&I space as well.
Appreciate that. That is super helpful. Guys, I want to be respectful of everyone's time who jumped in and spent now an hour. We're coming up on the top of the hour with us. If you're watching on LinkedIn or Facebook, Twitter, or Crowdcast, where we have 100 plus folks registered and online, really super grateful. I wanted to give Lennie, Katie, and Mike a chance for parting thoughts. Any last words as we round up this conversation?
Katie?
I mean, really, I just want to say thank you, Nico, for hosting this. Thanks to Solar Power Events for creating this platform for us to have this really important conversation. And I just hope everyone out there is doing well, staying healthy, and finding ways to enjoy the fun content on the internet.
I'll just say that everybody knows that if you just force yourself to smile, there's going to be a sense of happiness, positivity there. A lot of the people you're working with in your own company, potential customers, they're looking for a sense of optimism, especially right now as we're seeing some of these curves flatten and potentially restrictions lifted in some states. This is an opportunity to begin to be optimistic, to start to be forward thinking, and to make that contagious in whatever circles you run in. And being optimistic and having that joy about what you do and the people that you get to interact with is going to be a positive outcome for you if you can do that.
Yeah. And I will add that there is light at the end of the tunnel. We all know that we're almost there. And if you don't adapt, because what we realize is that during this situation, the people that have adapted, they came out big winners. Like we see it just in the stats, because we monitor all the stats from every dealer, all the people that have adapted and the ones that haven't. And we can see the number of signed deals and finance projects and permits created and all that. And the people that don't adapt, unfortunately, it's not going to do anything positive, or it's not going to give you anything to smile about. But the reality is we're humans. We can be put in any land, in any environment, in any situation, and we're capable of adapting. We just need to embrace the current environment, embrace the chaos if there is chaos, and turn this into optimism. And once you got an optimistic mind, the things that you can do is unbelievable. So smile, love the person right next to you on your right, love the person on the left of you, love the person right in front of you. And I guarantee that with a smile, it's going to be contagious, and that's the real virus we want.
Yeah, I love that. What a great way to wrap this, Lennie. A smile is contagious, and it's the best virus we can pass along, right? It's one of the interesting things happening here, where when we're out in public wearing face masks, you can't see smiles. I don't know if you guys have seen. There's innovation now where they have a clear piece in the face mask so that you can see a smile, and so that deaf folks can read your lips while you're talking. I think that's amazing. Like, actually, innovations are coming out of this that are helping even those with hearing impairment to be able to participate normally in a conversation, things that we may not immediately think of. I think that our industry is innovative, our industry is creative, and I'm super excited about where we're going to see surprises and innovation around product delivery, customer engagement, customer service, content creation, thought leadership. The doors are wide open, and the creative leaders who foster content that educates and encourages, and who foster a culture in their company that shares that empathy, both at a sales enablement level, at a customer reception level, as well as across the company, really understanding that this is a new world, new environment. Those companies are going to be the ones to look to. I'm so grateful for Solar Power Events and their invitation for us to join with all of you. I'd like to encourage you can check this out again on LinkedIn. If you go to, I think it's hosted on my profile on LinkedIn, Nico Johnson, and you can share this out. I think that the content that we shared here today is world class. I'm so honored to be on a stage here with Lennie and Mike and Katie, and I'm grateful. I also will note, since as the moderator, I mentioned that we have our podcast, but one interesting thing is, and I hadn't really thought about it being a part of this webinar, today's episode on SunCast is all about how to dive deep on SEO. So there are lots of ways that we can be supporting folks, right? So I just wanted to put that in there, and I'm grateful for all of you all for joining us, for you all online and on Crowdcast, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, that tuned in, gave us comments and questions. We're so grateful for you. If you have any direct questions, Lennie, Katie, and Mike in that order, would you guys share how folks can reach out to you if they have any direct questions or want to learn more about your company?
You can go on solargraph.com. If you can see it on the screen, it's with an F at the end. And you can reach out as well by phone, 1-888-997-1101. And our team will be very happy to give you a free demo, show you exactly how we bring value to the market, and answer all your questions. We deal directly with dealers, distributors, manufacturers, and lenders, and we're here to bring value. And that's it.
Thanks, Lennie. Yeah, thanks, Lennie. Katie?
And that's so funny, Lennie. I thought you were giving people your cell phone number.
Nah, I'm not there yet.
I was like, oh, no. That's so funny. So you can go to antennagroup.com to learn more about Antenna. You can reach me at katie.ullman@antennagroup.com. And I will keep my cell phone number to myself as well.
Fantastic, Mike.
For SalesRabbit, if you're a current customer interested in some of the other products we're offering and how we're helping people pivot right now, best to reach out to either your customer success manager, if you have one, or to our support team, and we can talk you through some of those offerings. Otherwise, if you're not a current customer, go to SalesRabbit.com. We got a chat feature in there that's going to put you in contact with one of our account executives who can give you a demo and talk through everything we offer.
Fantastic. Well, we're signing off here. Again, my name is Nico Johnson with SunCast, and would love it if you would take a chance. Also, you can find us at mysuncast.com. Would love it if you take a moment to reach out and extend your, would love it if you take a moment to reach out and extend your gratitude to not only Lennie, Katie, and Mike for their time, but to Solar Energy Trade Shows for giving us this platform and for introducing us to you all. It's been our pleasure to host you for this last hour, and we look forward to speaking with you again. As I always say on the podcast, showing up is half the battle. So thank you for that, Solar Warriors. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Nico. Bye, guys. Thanks.
Take care.